My Etsy shop has gone down the pan and my sales have decreased significantly. So I've decided to take some steps to try and revive my shop, and I'll be documenting the whole process and taking you with me on this journey. But first, in case you're new here, my name is Jeanette and I'm the founder of the Women's Entrepreneurial Network. And this channel is all about providing you with the latest tips, strategies and nuggets to help you launch, build and grow your online business. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell if that sounds like a bit of your jam. I just want to give you a little bit of backstory. So I started my Etsy shop in the midst of the pandemic, 2020. No, it was actually 2021. And obviously this is like a lot of people did at that time. And to be completely honest with you, I had heard of Etsy when I started the shop, but it wasn't until that time that I kind of wanted to find out more. And this is where I kind of became intrigued about the possibility of selling on Etsy to boost my income. And at that point, I knew a few other people that were also selling on Etsy and that were doing quite well, selling digital products. So I buckled down and created my first listings, which were printable planners. And in the first month or so, I made a few sales, but obviously this wasn't anything crazy because it was a new shop. Although what it did show me for sure was that it was actually possible to make sales on Etsy. So I decided to add a few more products until I had a total of about 71 listings. And I was kind of starting to make regular sales, which was amazing. So let me just break down exactly what's been happening in my shop over the past 3 years. So as you can see here, from the 11th of March 2021, which is when my shop first opened, to the 10th of March 2022, I had 13.6 thousand visits, 330 orders, a conversion rate of 2.4%, and my revenue was £3,999.01. And then in my second year, from the 11th of March 2022 to the 10th of March 2023, as you can see, my shop really did start to pick up, and the number of visits I had increased by 84%, which was absolutely insane, right? So I went from making 330 orders to making 727 orders in the second year. But then if we look at the period of the 11th of March 2023 to today's date, which is the 22nd of February, you'll see that I've got more visits to my store during this period, but I had less orders, which obviously means a lower conversion rate. So instead of seeing a yearly increase in sales, which is what I actually expected to see, I've actually made a lot less sales. Now, I know you're probably thinking, you know, those numbers don't look that bad, but if you actually dive into the data a little bit deeper, it wasn't actually until August 2023 that I noticed a decrease from the same period the prior year. So during the last 6 months, my sales have decreased by almost half. My shop is dying, people. Now, there are a few reasons why I think this is happening. So firstly, my listings have become a little bit outdated. Now, I'm going to be completely honest and transparent with you. I should have been spending a lot more time actually managing and growing my shop than I was. In fact, in August 2022, I updated all of my listings and descriptions and my tags, and then I literally haven't done anything else since up until now. Now, do I think this is part of the reason for the decline in sales? Well, yeah, absolutely I do. It's no secret that Etsy favors sellers who are actually active on their platforms. And then that leads me to my next reason, which is the Etsy algorithm. Now, Etsy's algorithm takes into account various factors, including relevancy, customer satisfaction, product popularity, new listings, updates, product quality, and a lot more other things too. Now, by regularly optimizing your shop to align with some of these factors, what you're actually doing is allowing yourself to rank higher in Etsy search. And by doing this, you're attracting more potential customers. And of course, I've not been doing this at all. Now, lastly, the amount of competition on Etsy has increased a crazy amount. So according to marketplacepulse.com, in 2022, when I actually became an Etsy seller, there were about 5.4 million sellers who sold goods through the Etsy platform. Now, this amount has actually increased by about 30% year on year, with the current number of sellers currently being around 7.4 million. And obviously, more sellers means more competition. And I really do believe that this has had a huge impact on the number of sales that I've been able to make, especially during the last 6 to 12 months. And I feel like the ripple effect of those new Etsy sellers coming on board and those numbers increasing, this is what has had a significant impact on my decrease in sales. Now, do I think it's the end for my Etsy shop? Well, I wouldn't really be here putting in this effort trying to revive my shop if I did. But I do think that I'm going to need to maybe make a few more changes to the way that I've done things in the past. And I'm going to be sharing some of those things with you in a moment. But first, I just want to talk about what I've done so far. So I've already tried a few things. Firstly, I've rebranded my Etsy shop. So I've updated my banner, my logo, and this is to make them a little bit more appealing and kind of a bit more current and more directly focused on what I'm actually selling, making it easier for customers to know if they're in the right place when they first visit my Etsy store. So I've also updated the About section of my store, which is pretty much meant, checking that all the information that I've provided is still relevant and up to date. Another thing that I've spent a lot of time so far doing is updating my current listing. So as I mentioned earlier, the last time I've done this was in 2022. So this is the first time I'm doing that since then. I'm really hoping that's going to make a difference. So me updating my listings has consisted of doing some keyword research, using ChatGPT to help me update those listing descriptions. And the reason that I'm doing that is so that they're more keyword rich, and I'm really paying attention to some of the similar best-selling items in my niche and kind of how they're presenting themselves and how they're being sold by other successful Etsy sellers. So for research, I've been using the free version of eRank and also the Etsy platform itself, so the actual search bar. And these have both been really helpful, but eRank has been great because it's given me information on how competitive certain keywords are, as well as related keywords that people are actually searching for on the platform. And it's also provided me with additional keyword suggestions and data on the most popular products and Etsy sellers using these keywords on Etsy currently. Now, in the name of full transparency, I might have made a bit of a mistake, which only occurred to me kind of after I'd updated my listings. And so there is this one particular listing that I have in my shop that has been responsible for about 80% of the sales that my shop has made. And, obviously I've seen a drop in sales overall, and that includes this product. So what I did is I went in and I updated this listing. But in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that because this was actually my best seller. So obviously something was right about the way that this product was listed, right? And I feel like now I've gone in and changed it, I'm gonna see a real dramatic decrease in sales for that item, way worse than I was experiencing before. And the reason that I'm saying this is because it was obviously working very well for me in terms of like the image, the descriptions, and also the tags. But I actually updated all three of these things, and so now only time will tell how that is going to affect how this sells going forward. Now, when I realized what I'd done, of course I went back and tried to revert the updates, but again, I'm not going to be able to know if what I've done has had a major impact on sales in the future. So I'm just going to have to see. But I wanted to share that with you so that, if you're trying to revive your own Etsy shop, to leave those listings alone that are actually doing well and that have done well over the past 6 months, and then focus on, those listings that maybe aren't doing so well or that are not really selling, as opposed to those items that were making up the majority of income from your Etsy shop. Now, so far, having made all these updates, I've not really seen any changes to the shop or the amount of visitors, But realistically, it's way too soon to kind of see if these updates that I've made are going to have any impact. And that's why I've decided to record a monthly update video to let you know how things are actually going along in real time. So if you're interested in following me on this journey, be sure to like this video and hit subscribe so that I can keep you up to date on what happens next. Right, so over the next few weeks, I'm planning to continue carrying out research, and I'm going to be adding a variety of new products to my store. Now, I mentioned before that I hadn't really been that active in managing my store in the past. So my plan going forward is to kind of add at least 2 to 3 new products at least a month, right? So in an ideal world, I'll be adding 1 new product a week, but obviously life be lifing and gets in the way. And so if I set myself a goal of 2 to 3 products each month, I feel like this is quite realistic, and I'll be able to have something kind of solid to report back on for you guys. So I'm also going to be working on creating different versions of the best sellers that I currently have in my shop. So for example, I currently sell a business bundle that does really well, and this is what I was talking about previously. And so what I plan on doing is creating a business planner that kind of contains the same or very similar information. And I'm also going to be working on a business Notion template, which again is going to be very similar in terms of the content, but it's just going to be in another format. Next, I'm planning on utilizing and documenting Etsy ads. So once I've added my first initial set of new products, what I'm going to be doing is running ads at about $5 a day just to see how they perform. And I'm going to do that for a couple of reasons. So firstly, to increase traffic to my shop and hopefully wake up the algorithm when doing so. And then off the back of that, what I want to see is if running these ads is going to actually increase my organic reach and kind of boost me up in the Etsy search. So what I'm kind of hoping is that after making these changes, that I'm going to be able to start to see an increase in visitors and an increase in sales, so that I know if these things are actually working when it comes to reviving my Etsy store. So those are some of the things that I'm going to be working on. I would love for you to follow me on this journey. If you also have an Etsy shop that you feel you want to spend some time on trying to revive, then don't forget to hit subscribe and we can go on this journey together. So I'll be back in about 4 weeks with another update on how the shop is getting on. So hopefully I'll see you then. Ciao.